I'd like to welcome everybody to the Independent Investor Channel Live. This special edition here on Saturday. We may garner a new audience here. We may garner some of the same patrons anyway. Just saw all good pop in here anyway. Happy holiday to each and every one of you guys that are in a little bit early, starting to reflect here on 2021. It's been a doozy for me. Absolutely, a lot of goods, some not so good, some stuff that I'm probably a little bit tougher on myself than I even need to be. But I always reflect over the years. I'm a very driven person, so I'm always trying to fine tune, evaluate where the risk paid off, evaluate where the risk, might have been a little bit too over levered. But like to welcome everybody. Appreciate the leave last night off of the Friday live stream. We'll be back to normal schedule next Friday for anybody that's catching this. But I'm very hell bent on making sure that this product goes out with optimum frequency. And I think once a week is just a beautiful, right in the pocket frequency for me to deliver a message my way. And I think there's no higher calling in this life than to put out a message that helps people. I've been in kind of a side initiative to review in reflection where the project has been, where we currently are, where I'm looking to take the project, and really just didn't dawn on me. It's interesting. I usually spend a lot of my time looking forward rather than looking backward at the dust I've kicked up. But I had a chance to review the channel and look over all of the content, probably seeking over maybe 1,000 videos that have been put through the channel anyway. Little bit of financial compensation over the last 5 years has been rendered. I think that's a success in and of itself. I've tried all kinds of businesses, failed at every one of them. And I think it just speaks to my devotion to the craft of perseverance and finding that one niche that I really love doing. Finances is something that I would do if I didn't come onto YouTube and talk about it. I was at the party last night, of course, and people wanted to pick my brain after I was a double bourbon and a couple beers deep, which is totally fine with me. You'll probably get more of an honest response from me when you catch me in those types of spirits. I'd had a great time, actually. But I just love the topic. And I thank you guys because, as awesome as this opportunity is, I'd be a whole hell of a lot different if I had to come onto YouTube, talk to myself. I've always contended that I thought if this project was going to mean something, like I knew that it should or would, and potentially maybe myself being my worst enemy, and making sure that the product is delivered in the right method to where it's received correctly in every capacity that I would hope that it's received. I'm not perfect. There's nobody out there that is. There's no YouTuber out there that, although may seem very elegant, has all the answers. I do wholeheartedly believe that. And for you guys that follow the message and appreciate my unique way of delivering the message in just one of infinite ways of delivering this message to make sure that people out there that can hear the message and maybe fine tune their life in this capacity, do so. And I mention the holistic approach to this gig all the time. I think it's something that's missed all the time. People want to come on and the channel and they want to pick away at me, and I'm very, very good at separating those constructive criticisms of my message. Maybe somebody doesn't like something specific about the message or whatever it is, and or those messages that come on that are just blatantly bashing. And those are the types of scenarios that I've grown accustomed to, unfortunately, on social media. I say unfortunately because me or nobody that I would ever know would actually treat somebody that way in person, which I find in the social media arena is somewhat allowed in most capacities and even tolerated to the most case. The sheer misery of the whole thing is I'm trying to teach people who would just as otherwise live a life not being able to achieve any type of personal wealth, beyond what they were destined to achieve. In other words, their mind and their mindset perspective, and I'm not here to judge. It just is what it is, and it's okay. Some people want to remain in that rut their whole life. I totally understand. But for those people out there that are interested in maybe seeking a higher place, seeking a higher understanding of their own capability, maybe making good on some of the promises that you make to yourself in regard to some of the dreams and aspirations that you have down the line, and some of them have not a whole lot to do with being financially secure at all. They could be, you know, pursue music, become a better steward at a particular hobby, take up gardening, you know, define for yourself what it is that you consider wealth in this life. I'm always fascinated at the answers that I get by what people put value in. We'll talk about that a little bit too. But to level with you guys in reflection over the last 5 years, I tell you, very, very proud of the project. And again, the calling of helping people and making sure I can put the message out all day one way. But if people don't feel inspired by the message, then what are we doing? Does it have more of a potential to help people rather than hinder people in their day-to-day interactions? I think a lot of people who come in and they appreciate, and have a chance to thank you guys all the time, and say, "Hey, you're welcome. I'm glad to do it. I would do it otherwise. Wouldn't matter to me anyway. I enjoy doing it." But nonetheless, that calling of really reaching deep and trying to help those individuals that maybe get confused by the landscape, and it's very confusing anymore to be caught up in the demands of society. You look left and you look right, and everybody seemingly has a whole hell of a lot more than what you have. And I think we only see through our lenses and perspective a society that only glorifies that biggest house on the block and the nicest car in the driveway, when in reality, I think you would be probably a lot more neutral on your application if you understood the truth. And the truth of the matter is, although on the surface those situations may seem like society's definition of success, I think once you start to peel back the layers of the onion, I think you'll find in a lot of cases there's a lot of angst, and there's a lot of stress, and those stressors may be coming from things that a lot of people work really, really hard to keep suppressed. And I think really what we need to start doing is we need to start taking a hard look at ourselves, how it is that we can improve in all aspects of what it is that we do. Be a master of what it is that we do. Pick those things out of life that are going to make you happy. Okay. And I think it's really going to help you gain some relative perspective in the topic that we revolve around 98% of the time, which is personal finance, budgeting, spending discipline, etc. But in all actuality, making sense of the rudimentary form of money, which is paper, and the means by which that paper allows us to enjoy certain elements of our life is really the key. And I think where we get overzealous a lot of the times, and we start to look at the dark side of what pursuing wealth can turn back to us, in reflection, some of the things and some of the pitfalls, I guess, and barriers that I've had to overcome, even being a social media influencer, which I can be very influential. But I can tell you what, when you have thousands and thousands of people coming in and either saying, "Hey, great job, we really appreciate the time and effort spent," and we're talking thousands and thousands of hours of time spent. And on the same token, you've got folks that are coming in and they don't know you from Adam, and they're the first to say, "Hey, I didn't like this, and this about you. Thank you very much. I've known you for 12 minutes, but I seemingly have you chalked up as being this, and this." And I think all too often that's somewhat of the downfall of social media. And, I look back 5 years ago, I've advanced and evolved in my thought. Social media has made me, I guess, a lot tougher, which is unfortunate because we human beings, man, we like interaction. It was nice to actually get out and do some socializing last night. The last 2 years have been, maybe a couple shakes above depressing, right? It's just been really, really tough times. There's no doubt about it. Let the folks get into the gallery here. I know this is a Saturday live stream. I don't know what kind of group we are going to garner, but some advice that I was told many, many moons ago is never ever turn down the opportunity to talk to a captive audience. And I plan on doing absolutely that tonight. I want to thank each and every one of you guys for spending a few minutes with me this evening on the fastest 60 minutes on YouTube, delivered to you in a unique capacity on a Saturday evening. Guys, I'll be back with you in just a sec. Yeah, surprise a few folks. That's all right. We just be dynamic here a little bit. Okay. I don't have an agent, guys. I'm just one regular fella advocating for those folks out there that are probably holding down 9 to 5s. Absolutely fall carte blanche into the retail investing community, that I think all too often kind of take the ass end of the investing opportunity a lot of the times. Institutions, it'd be awesome to just sit on multi-millions and in some capacities billions of dollars, to invest and just sit on great ideas as long as it takes to make it, or just invest to match the percentage required to cover a specific index. I just think that'd be fun as hell. But us as retail investors, I think all too often there is an emotional charge that goes into the game a little bit, because if we are those folks that I imply represent a lot of the masses out there working just 9 to 5 jobs, trying to get by, finding those few $100s surplus capital in the budget is hard enough. And kudos to those out there that are willing to do that and take a hard look at your program. It'll make all the difference over the long term. Okay, if you're failing to identify and make certain concessions to buy into a wealth building program for yourself going forward, stick with the program. Maybe at some point this will resonate with you. It doesn't have to be something that you jump into with both feet if you're not ready to do that. Okay, I can be as motivating as you possibly can allow me to be, because I'm very, very adamant about sharing things over the Independent Investor channel and chronicle things that I actually do. Okay. These are things that I've actually done. And for you guys like Tim's been with me for a long, long time. He's been with me since the start of the channel. I've spoke with him on the phone. Very cool guy. And I feel that way a lot about a lot of you guys. But just like you guys, I grow and I evolve and I make decisions based on the best information that I have at the time of making those decisions. And if you went back and compared what type of investor that I was back when I started this channel, I think you'd find that I've evolved and grown something here that is not indicative of the 1 or 2 track investment strategy that I had when I first rolled out the channel. I was very hell-bent on keeping very, very close to the vest, doing a little bit of swing trading here and there. I've increased my bucket size immensely since I started. Multiple buckets, a couple I have done away with. First trade, for you guys that have been with me for a long time, that broker just didn't provide any type of strategic benefit to me. So that was just an example of trimming the fat. But I have taken on some new brokerage accounts here as of late. Charles Schwab, I've been pleasantly surprised with. I've got the mid-cap offering in there. I'll chronicle the portfolios for you guys. We were up across the board week over week, so we came back from a pretty dismal week last week. We were down significantly. We dropped below the half a filet mignon mark, which was kind of disappointing to me. We're back above that mark today, so back above the filet mignon mark, so that's a good thing. And for you retail investors out there that are wondering what the filet mignon is, stand by. Okay, I'll show you what a little retail investor that could chugga is capable of building over a relatively short amount of time in the market, investing correctly. And this is a lot of what I throw out in nuggets. If you've stayed with me for the evolution, folks like Tim Tellers, there's no way that he'll apologize to anybody for following the Independent Investor channel, right, Tim? Because when we talked that night, we talked about the importance of investing in S&P type of diversified products, funding that up over time, and doing so from a self-directed perspective. He's up a fortune, and this is just 5 years. 5 years in respect to your entire life is a drop in the bucket, but look at the magnitude of difference. Tim will tell you the same. I don't need to tell you anymore. We're getting into this category of people who really do resonate with the nuggets of eliminating fees, what it means to be a self-directed investor, what it means to take charge, what it means to take certain strategies and deploy them in your own application where it makes sense to do so. Super, super important, baby, changing lives. That's what I always wanted to set out for, because there's nothing more valuable to me than having somebody come back and say, man, you said this and this. I resonated with it. I did a little bit to make it internalized for me. I put it to work, and it's actually blossoming and it's working. Thank you. That's the most payment I could ever receive on the channel, man. And it happens pretty often. It's a pretty special full circle. And I will continue to drive this message with the perspective of that full circle reciprocation. When the message goes out, I want to make sure that we maintain a two-way dialogue. It makes no sense to me whatsoever to get on here and just rip manure at the mouth and just start throwing a bunch of crap at you and start to pose as if I have all the answers in stock market investing, because I'm one of the very few, if not one of the only YouTubers that come on and talk about the fact that that just does not exist in nature. It doesn't. Okay. There might be some that appear like they've got an epiphany from God to have the answers. Let me tell you, those fires, they burn out as well. Okay. And there's no way that you can tell me that anybody on a consistent basis can have all the answers with regard to the stock market. It's a very, very humbling place. It's a very rewarding opportunity. And there's a lot of different strategies to help us try to curtail the opportunity and really drive home some of those benefits for each and every one of our families, guys. It's fantastic. So Sarah's on the live stream tonight. She's not doing her final. Great job, Sarah. She's probably done, okay? But there was a 5-pager that was due on her studies, man. She was either opting for that or to sit and stare at the Christmas tree and drink some Baileys and cream. So I don't know what she opted for. I don't mean to be presumptuous, but nonetheless, it's great to see you. Happy holidays to you. It's great to see you, Sarah. Been with the channel again a long, long time. One of many, hopefully, who has kind of taken some of those nuggets and put them to work for themselves. Let's jump into the portfolio real quick, guys. I just want to update you on the progress. We're kind of doing a little bit of licking our wounds here a little bit, which is okay. Hyliion went back down into a deep swoon there, and we've recovered since then just a little bit of grumbling. It's holding in here. I don't know what the stock has in store for us. I always try to get a little tidbit there. For you guys that saw my Thomas Healy interview and were happy with me, all 303 of you, there was all of about 2 or 3 patrons that did not get that. I wouldn't have asked those questions of the real Thomas Healy. So for you guys that don't understand why I do certain things, hey, no problem. You don't have to catch the content. But I absolutely have a strategic angle. Some of the folks were like, man, Ryan, you really disappointed me because you probably just forewent your opportunity to actually have an interview with Thomas Healy. I don't look at it that way. He wants to come on the channel, he can come. I don't put people on a pedestal. Okay. I interview CEOs every week on the channel. Okay. Some that are incredibly good, some running a few $100 million companies. Thomas Healy just so happens to be running a company that's worth just over 1.1 billion right now. He's welcome on the channel at any time. Furthermore, it's free of charge. If he wants to come on and share the message, it's an open invitation. And I don't think I should be subject to scrutiny based on one video that I put out that I thought was phenomenal. I'm proud of my product. I stand behind it all the time. If I'm the only one who has the courage to ask those hard questions and not be politically correct all the time, and just skirt around the issue, I can't do that. I just can't do that. I'm sorry. I would be scrutinizing if I was a shareholder or if I wasn't, because the things that I actually asked were valid if you were willing to listen with an open mind. Okay. You can see here a slight move to cash here, 77% in the stock. Amazon, Google positions remain the same. I did add a new position here, made sense in Salesforce.com. And then the Hyliion position there, I did have to take a small reduction. First sale I've taken in probably 11 months, I guess, 12 months, something like that. I had to. I decided to go ahead and do that. And really, the sheer reason for my reduction in that share amount there was to go ahead and take some tax loss harvesting. That alone would not have been enough for me. But to be quite honest with you guys, I've been holding the stock for 18 months, and to level with you, which is the title of this video, it was starting to impact my health. So we went ahead and did the right thing, and trust me, that was about 2.5 months to 3 months of deliberation before I actually pulled the trigger and shaved off 4,000 shares of that particular position. I was able to maintain 1,700 shares in that. With an obligation to pick up 1,500 shares on contract. That's just in the one account. I still own just shy of 8,000 in Hyliion right now. Okay. So just so you guys know, that's the decision. I've got to stay out of the stock, at least in that particular capacity, for 30 days to enjoy the wash sale, not be subject to wash sale. So I wrote some contracts actually on the put side to gain back some premium a little bit until mid-January, and then also wrote some more long call contracts. So actually, I did supplement a little bit, about 1,500 to 2,000 shares the day I sold out of those 4,000 shares by writing some cash secured puts and writing some additional long call contracts at around the $7 strike price for 2024. I just think those are much more attractive at this point to allow me the ample time to monitor the landscape and to even maybe roll some of the existing contracts that I have forward. Still a big shareholder in the company. My conviction has not died. Unfortunately, I'm relying on information now that is unfortunately kind of pinned to a lot more hope than what I'm comfortable with, as opposed to the information that I vetted before. That perhaps maybe that was the mistake of mine. In 2021, I had a long subscriber come in and say, "Gosh, Ryan, you're such a good investor. I think you made a big mistake in 2021." That could be true in the short term, but to be fair, as long as I own the stock, I own the cards. So if it's a mistake in 2022 and 2023 and 2024, and the stock hasn't improved by 1 penny from where I'm disclosing it to you now, then I will agree with you on that assessment. But making that assessment now conveniently from a position of being able to monitor what's happened in the past and not giving fair acknowledgement about what's going to happen into the future is somewhat premature, in my opinion. Okay. So here's the brokerage account. Cheers to each and every one of you guys. It's great. The gallery's finally making their way in here. That's a big Jack and Coke. Fantastic. So anyway, this is up week over week. We're starting to come back just a little bit on the damage that was incurred there. Put a little stopgap in there with that sell. I did feel better after it. Unfortunately, it's one of those moves I did not want to make, but I was kind of forced into doing so. And again, it was about 2.5 months of deliberation and going back and forth on, really not wanting to sell the stock, but really just this company has given me really not a whole lot of reason here. Kind of felt pinned in a corner. If I was just really hungry for one or two catalysts at the end of the year, which we just never got. And I'm trying to be neutral in my criticism of 𝗖𝐊 with regard to the lack of information and transparency. I'm pretty harsh on them. I know they could do a better job. I don't think they could, but they're choosing not to. And whether or not that is something that they will have to atone to down the line is going to be as a condition of those decisions that they are making now. I think it's a big mistake. But they seemingly have it all figured out. I was kind of tired of just being challenged every single time I got with investor relations. It seemed like there was more of an attempt to argue on every point that I was making rather than try to render an explanation. I've dealt with Fortune 500 companies my entire life. My profession allows me to sit across from some of the largest companies in the world. And I can tell you, being in those rooms, big companies don't talk to each other like that. There is a level of business courtesy that is acknowledged and it is maintained. And I just didn't feel that when I was trying to exercise my right as, yes, an investor and seeking out, yes, relations. I just didn't get that rapport. Kind of disappointing. But to each his own. I don't expect a whole lot out of other people. As a matter of fact, I've said this many times on the live stream. Most people just disappoint the holy hell out of me. So, that's just the way it is, man. Okay, I'm disappointed because somebody's rendered what I consider to be poor performance, and I just chalk it up as, just another business day. You know what I'm saying? That's how it is. So here, no real additions here. I'm scanning through. This portfolio has done pretty well for us year over year. We're up in the portfolio. It's been kind of a neutral year for me. Nothing too crazy. Disney has really just not had a good year this year. Microsoft has just done really well. JPM is off. VOO and the S&P 500 continues to really anchor this portfolio and just whipping some ass. Pepsi, one of my all-time favorites, and then some of my speculative positions in this portfolio I'm holding true on. I really do have conviction in some of these, like SoFi, that's really come off. TAC Global, which is taking the world by storm. New orders and repeat orders on their vendors. The retails are just going up. They're already qualified to go to the NASDAQ. So, it's going to be interesting coming into 2022 to see some of these young and exciting innovators in their respective space really start to move with their stock price and have it reflect the value that's there. Here's Roth 2 back up over the six-figure mark. That was nice. I've met this milestone now a half a dozen times. It's gone up, below, down, up, below, down, below, up, down, and it's kind of just making me somewhat numb to making that. But next milestone in this, I'd love to get these Roth IRAs up to 250. 𝗖𝐿 really is the best possibility of making that happen. Because I've just really taken this portfolio. Other areas have recovered nicely. ExxonMobil couldn't ask for better recovery here in 2021, recovering a multi-year swoon in the portfolio. So I'm very, very satisfied. Shoot, by the time that thing recovers, I'm going to have a $10,000 bill in ExxonMobil. Be interesting to see how it is that I play that there. Facebook, I think, is just so undervalued here, man. I was looking at the balance sheet this week on Facebook. Nothing compares. It's insane. I mean, we're talking about 23 times forward earnings on Facebook. Their bottom line earnings are just off the charts, man. Their growth quarter over quarter and year over year are just fabulous. So, from an entry perspective, I think of the large tech. I mean, we can call it communication services, but it really is its own animal, to be quite honest with you. It just really looks rich here. It really looks nice on this last swoon that it had. Okay, triple Qs are doing well. And the Vanguard's dividend appreciation, I added some to that. I added 25 shares to embolden that. That was a strategic goal of mine, to put some more into passive this year, and I've done that. I'm really going to be a lot more aggressive on making sure that the Roth dollars are really kept sacred, and I do protect those gains going forward. All right. Next is another up week over week. This is the sector portfolio with M1 Finance. So I chronicle these individual, but on the live stream, I go ahead and just kick out where we are up week over week handily. I might add, this is up, $600 from last week. So whatever happens, a week makes an interesting difference here. Even passive investing, that's a huge jump for the week. So couldn't be more satisfied with this. This went over 27,000 for the first time. I was looking back over some of my old videos when I first started these accounts. $1,500, $1,790, $2,340. I always put the dollar amount up there because I knew I'd be in a point now where I'm declaring a portfolio that's 10x those amounts. Just really do that to demonstrate the power of investing, even with a relatively small amount of money. It's really, really cool. I'm glad to share this with you guys. I hope you appreciate it too. This is going to be something I could not believe when I was reviewing my catalog of videos that I've released over the last 5 years. And I could not believe how popular my bond videos were. I mean, I had one video that I had no idea got 10,000 views on with regard to my explanation of how I seek my bond exposure in the market. Very cool. This will be something that we've covered ever since I've came out with this. It dipped down $5 from the initial, but since then, I've got this on a fairly aggressive funding schedule of about $50 a week, I think. And we're going to build this up to something special. We really are. This renders really close to 3% the way that I've got it crafted, both government and corporate debt, from the small, intermediate, long, and ultra long durations in this portfolio. So I have not rolled that out through the channel. I plan on doing that. So stand by as I roll those out to the grander community, and you guys can see what the portfolio actually looks like. TSP, PIP, 25% year over year. Fabulous performance. Couldn't be happier. I caught a video that I did just within the last couple years. This account was 24,000 at the time of shooting that video. How I've been able to almost triple the account since then, I don't know. I don't know. This is where you kind of lose track of those dollars and where and why and how you started. But then it really comes to a head when you aggressively fund it and it performs well. Money can really compound on itself, and it can really add up quick if you just buy into the idea of some of the fundamentals, philosophies, and perspectives that I talk about on the channel all the time. Okay. This is the Robinhood account. This is the growth ETF with Vanguard. It's a good one. I've got it in there just as a standalone growth portfolio. I may look to supplement this with some single stock, but I'm going to allow this to grow. We're going to fund it up over time. Okay. Webull here. This is the Vanguard's mid cap offering. So this is kind of cool. This is also up week over week. And then Charles Schwab, I only have one holding with a few smaller holdings in there, nothing too crazy. But we're up just a little bit in the Swiss F as it just, Globex is kind of basing a little bit. I'm waiting for the listing in 2022 to the NASDAQ. I think that's going to be a catalyst. I think it's going to open up some capital streams for the company, which they are in need of, so they can continue with their forward-leaning advertising. campaigns and just win out over more subscriber customers through awareness. That's going to be the key for Globex. Okay. The only portfolio that's down a little bit, crypto took it on the chin a little bit this week. No big deal. We just hold true on this. This is the iTrust Capital. It's a Roth IRA that I own the declared cryptocurrency. This represents a very small percentage of my portfolio. So do not misconstrue this as being something other than a very, very risky element of my portfolio. And I control the risk using very, very specific scale in this. Okay. But those are the holdings there in there. And the total value of the filet mignon, we're looking back up over the filet mignon mark. That's good. 506, 795. Again, blue collar work here, guys. Again, going back in reflection of where we've been and what I've declared to you and shared in my progress. I wouldn't do this if I couldn't render results. It would just be a waste of everybody's time. It doesn't do a whole hell of a lot of good to listen or sit across from somebody and have them talk about the importance of doing most all of what I'm talking about doing. There's a few things that I would say that have really helped supplement the bottom line. We were blessed this year and we've become now a double income family for the first time in really since we've been married. And this is I'm still getting used to how that works, how the other elements of the work need to be supplemented for. But from a monetary perspective, now I kind of understand what some of you double income households have been working with. It's all surplus. Holy moly. So we've started another 401k for her, for my spouse. Fabulous stuff. So that's something that's going to take some getting used to. And then the YouTube opportunity, this has really been something that I've proven to myself that you can actually make a little bit of money as a side hustle. We sell on eBay. We do little things, little bits to help supplement the bottom line. And I tell you what, I declare this value to you guys, and I can honestly tell you with all my heart that it is a lot of little wins, a lot of little renderings, a lot of little stock trades, a lot of passive investing, a lot of littles to add up to something kind of special. Okay. You're not going to get it in one fail swoop. It's just not going to work that way. You're not going to hit a home run every single time you enter into the game. The trick is to identify where it is that you have the potential for those little wins and start adding them up for yourselves, just like I have declared to you, because they can really make a big, big difference. I like filet mignon. Thanks for staying with me, guys. Let's cruise in here and say hi to the gallery. That Alex is in the house, man. It's really cool. Some of the networking that I've done with some of the channel content creators has meant a lot to me, actually. It's one of the cool things that I consider. Alex is really kind of right up there at the top for me. And I haven't really I've watched half a dozen of his videos. He's just a really, really smooth applicator, man. He's got his own unique style. Very, very sharp investor. Knows exactly why he does what he does. And he's one of those examples of somebody that invests the way that makes sense to him. Furthermore, I don't want to speak for Alex, but he seems like he's non-apologetic like me. And I like that. I like people who, they don't care, or they're going to do it themselves. They know that they're not immune to mistakes. It's all the best compliments that I can give a guy like Alex and Blood Phantom, for sure. If you guys are not subscribed, you want to rip over there. Double income is huge. That snowball can really take off. Congrats. Yeah, I mean, we're looking at the filet mignon, and in all actuality, in 7 years minimum, 7 years maximum, to be honest with you, we should be getting to that million mark. To be honest with you, with the accelerated pace that we're on, I want to get there sooner. I can't sit here and tell you that I'm going to have the patience to willy-nilly around. I think really in hindsight, I'm trying to blame myself for Hyliion this year in 2021. It's just really difficult to do that. It really is. My mindset just does not work that way to allow myself the opportunity to blame myself. I would look back and look at some of the things maybe that I should have or could have been privy to. But at the same time, those strategic risks, man, it has been all the difference that has really transpired in my life. And a lot of them have turned out to be huge wins. And, the verdict is still out as to whether or not that will turn into a huge win. It's been a drag on the portfolio, and I cannot continue to subject the portfolio to that type of drag in the portfolio when all I really need to do, and not to quote my favorite movie, which is Rounders, you chop their leg off in the first round. All you got to do is lean against them until they fall over. That's kind of all you need to do with a $500,000. You know what I mean? Is just kind of lean into it. There's no reason for me to get cute, and that might have been my downfall a little bit. At the same time, I'm my conviction is still right there with the company, and I just think they're really, really lean with information, with the prospect of uncovering a lot of catalysts, that of which I cannot foresee going into 2022. It's just that it's my bold bet that those catalysts will be realized into 2022 and 2023 as the company grows and they get to enjoy this technology that they're chomping at the bit to share with the world. They just can't do it right now. It's great to see you, Alex, man. Thank you for the congrats. I really appreciate that. It's meant a lot to us. We were job searching for a long time, a lot of tears and not really understanding some discrimination. I think discrimination goes a lot of different ways, man. People of color, same sex, people who choose same sex marriage, all that stuff. It's crazy. And I don't think really there's a lot of people out there that are immune to it. And I think that's unfortunate, man. It really is tough sometimes um, to not feel like you have those opportunities and know that you do have something to offer. You just want to work, which is interesting now. I think anybody could probably trip and fall into a job right now. Seemingly, everybody's trying to invest in Shibu Inu and not have to ever work again. Be quite honest with you guys, I think that would be just a tragedy for a lot of people, because I tell you what, my current employment falls very, very highly on my conviction list on those things that I find value in, and those things that keep me going to pursue for the very security that it provides me and my family. That's just my 2 cents on employment. And I hate to be the stick in the mud when it comes to the rest of the YouTube audience that just wants to sit and listen and how they can become rich in 2 weeks. I would rather just speak to the masses, and hopefully those masses are those people who actually can resonate with the idea of going to work every day and working for a living. There's value to be had in that. There certainly is. I will not apologize for what it is that I've chosen to do with my time, because I can tell you, if you've ever been like me, when you go up to the ATM and you put your card in and it says "Get lost, asshole," it does. It says that on the screen. Like, are you serious? You have nothing. You are a loser. Get lost. I will give you nothing. If you've ever gone through that at any time of your life, or you have had bills stack up, or even worse, spending a hawk with the IRS like I have twice in my life, I'll never go back there. I'll never go back there. Not going to happen. Another Viper in the house. Jamie, great to see you, man. Appreciate you as usual, and appreciate continuing the discussion with you into 2022. A lot of fun, man. Great to have you in the group, my friend. Great to have you. And Rick's in the group here. Very cool. Wegman's video is strong confirmation of what I've believed from day one about Hyliion ZRX. I think that inherently is the problem, is that, on all the initial information that I scrutinized, I don't know how it was my problem, and I know how to extrapolate information. I don't know how I was under the impression that they were further along in the information that was put forward to investors than they actually were, you know? And I think maybe if there was some criticism on my deliberation, I won't do this again. Um, I I've learned somewhat of a lesson, not to say I haven't learned this in the past, and I will not be gun shy to put investment down on a certain opportunity where I see value. This is no different. With that said, it kind of goes back to my analogy of just wanting to lean into this. I'm not looking to be a multi-millionaire. If by nature of the course that I put in play renders that type of opportunity to me, and it will come via real estate. It's not going to come via YouTube, and it's not going to come via stock market or speculating on a company like Hyliion or any other opportunity that comes my way into the future. It will be with real estate, and it will be the very culmination of the 12 people that I put into my roundtable that have those opportunities with me to build something special. This is not just for fun and games. I'm very intense for every second that I'm on this live stream. And it's because I have a vision for the future in where and how we can take this project to the next level. And I will not continue. Well, I probably will do YouTube, but it will not be for the grand vision of where I think the project could take us into the future by leveraging what I think is the most incredible investing opportunity that this life has ever put forward, and that is with real estate. And it is not for the faint of heart. I want to have a Mill 5. I want to be qualified buyer status before I even step into some mini projects to get my feet wet. But it's going to be with a group of folks that I don't mind sitting at a round table, Camelot style, where everybody's got an equal and equitable type of a stake in the say so of what's available out there. I've got some really interesting ideas about where we take this thing into the future. But it's great to see you, Rick. Happy holidays to you. And again, thanks for your steadfast bullish conviction on trying to crack the whip on the social media landscape out there. It is rampant. Holy moly, there are some characters out there, are there not? Holy smokes, man. I went into the Discord group one time. I thought it was cool. And then I go into the Yahoo thread and everybody's talking about people getting ostracized out of there. And I'm just like, holy shit, am I the last shareholder in this company? My God, this is crazy. But no, I'll emerge through the dust and the sweat and the tears, man. On the other side, I'll still be a shareholder. They can't take it from me, man. I'll make that decision. That's for sure. If Hyliion ever gets to 20 again, I'll literally eat my shirt. I don't think it would have any problem at all getting back up to $20 a share. Just, keep in mind right now with no sales, the float in awarding any type of sales metric to the company currently right now does not exist. So it's impossible when you've now got questioning of the integrity of when and how they are going to turn out said sales, where those are going to fall on the bottom line earnings side. And even if it's 500,000 here within the next year, 500,000 of earnings, a million of earnings, 5 million, 10 million of earnings, 25 million. It could go all the way up. They could surprise 500 million of earnings. They have orders on the books right now that can spread that spectrum out. New orders. If you think that they're going into 2022 and they're not going to continue to embolden the existing order book, I find that interesting. That could happen. Hell, anything can happen. I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're a few days away from a Wegmans announcement. Maybe they're keeping it on the back burner because they know that they can't get the trucks anyway. And I think, if anything, that's stalling out companies from coming forward and saying, hey, we want to put in an order now, full well knowing that they can't get the trucks delivered anyway. But $20, I don't think that's going to be a problem at all. I just think it's a matter of time before a credible sales metric can be put on the company. Once that happens, I mean, a conservative 8 to 10 times forward with half of what they projected at a 2% market cap grab, 1 billion in bottom line earnings at a 35% margin is pretty impressive for a company like that. That's 3.5 billion right there at 35% margin. So, and that's garnering half. That's garnering 1% to the market. And I always looked at it like this. I thought those were put out there conservatively to actually err on the side of safety. And I don't know. A lot of people out there, schools of thought at the time that they looked at that, they were lofty sales numbers. I have to agree now. I have to. I mean, are they going to do 15,000 ERX orders? Are they going to do 15,000 hybrid EX units by 2024? I think you'd be crazy to say that. I hope that happens. If that happens, we're talking about 35 margins projected sales through the OEM hubs. And we're talking about an enormous, that puts them probably up closer to an $8 billion valuation. $8 billion. Now, you're not talking about a $20 stock at that point, especially if those metrics can be counted upon going forward. Okay. $8 billion company. This is a $50 stock, not a $20 stock. So it's very, very difficult right now. I understand really the ace for them is to do what it is they've always said that they could do, and that's to sell products and earn bottom line dollars with their lean business model. It's just that simple. It's show up or shut up. It's really just that simple. But I appreciate you offering the comment, Paul. Thank you. All right. Hey, very cool, man. I got Murad in the house. It's great to see you, my friend. Thank you. Yes, and when unplugged, Paul's stock will be $20. Buy it then. I had somebody explain it to me. If this thing does start to go up, there's going to be so many landmines and so many dead bodies. I forgive the analogy, but so many people have just been crushed by the stock. They're going to have a lot of resistance and a lot of work to go. That really the only solution for this is very, very simple, and that is to sell their product. It's very, very simple. That they need to sell their product. They need to have the supply chain shake out, and they need to deliver on the promises that they made. And I believe that they do. I believe in the technology. I believe in the opportunity, and I believe that companies are very, very much interested in getting some of this technology in their fleets. And I believe once that happens, the 800 billion addressable market, just think about that for a second, guys. 90% of the industry is dominated by diesel. Okay. So when I talk about the 2% is what they based their sales number on all things ago. No supply chain issues, OEM relationships solidified, et cetera, et cetera. The number of sales units that they could project for the companies that they're going to be doing business with would have garnered them a certain level of penetration into that addressable market. The scary part about that is if this Hypertruck ERX performs at the level that they say that it can, and the EX hybrid allows tandem trailers to be transported the way Dexter so elegantly explained for just one company like Wegmans, and that's Drive Mix Game for anybody out there that's interested in Dexter's channel. Gonna kick over and he does a great job of explaining the insider scoop on why this is so important. It's huge. The question becomes, could they get more than 2%? I don't know at this point. What we're looking at is technology based up against and just now being introduced to an industry that has been solidified over the last 100 plus years of over the road transport using a preliminary fuel of diesel. So it'll be interesting to see how things unfold over the coming years. I'll be right there to monitor it, no doubt about it. I'm fascinated by the project. I'm fascinated by being on the front end of something that feels really, really good. And I think there's going to be companies out there that really do understand the value proposition here. It's a win across the board. And I think it's going to be fun to monitor it as it transpired. Very cool. All right. Thomas Healy's mouth is glued shut. Good times. Yeah, I took a few ass chewings for that. Like, it was interesting. I won't disclose some that I received, not ass chewings, but I don't think it was very much appreciated. I didn't give a shit. I did not care. I stand behind every product I put out. And again, if those are scathing questions that you're offended by, I'm sorry. Get over it. It's business. Okay? Asking whether or not there's credibility behind the original agility order, I don't think is a scathing question at all. I don't. I don't think asking whether or not you run the risk of being delisted is inappropriate at all. I don't think challenging the notion that because retail investors are getting antsy or asking questions about the apparent lack of transparency and communications from the company is something that we cannot challenge. And the responses that I'm getting, again, are somewhat combative in that it's never going to be enough. Well, that doesn't answer the question, my friend. That doesn't answer the question. And this is a lot of the reason why I do this channel, because I like to have a voice. I don't like people in positions of power telling people as smart as me that I need to somehow curtail my message to be more politically correct and acceptable. I will not do that. And I furthermore will not do it for the people that I advocate for. I will not do that. Just like other people out there can speak up, I speak up. And I won't apologize for that. I won't. I had one person say that I did a terrible interview because I didn't let the person speak. And I was like, it was effing cardboard, bro. Like, you're scaring me. Did you not notice that? It was a spoof. Jesus, man. Don't be so serious. Holy smokes, man. Are you kidding me? Jesus, man. I was talking to a piece of cardboard. Let it go, brother. Holy moly, man. Onamander Rake. That's a hell of a screen name. Anybody here thinking of just selling everything since the market is so high and just wait? That's an awesome statement. Would you like me to answer that truthfully? Would you like me to level with you guys? I think about this all the time. Jesus. Thinking about it is a whole hell of a lot different than acting upon it. Okay? It sure is. And I had to think long and hard about the Hyliion situation before I did it. Kind of broke my heart a little bit because I felt like my conviction was there. I just got a little bit too over levered for my comfort zone. Decided to take the tax loss on it. That's what we did. But no, you can control these impulses to just sell everything, as you might suggest, by controlling your scale. And this is interesting. Gets along a topic that I am very intrigued with. I had people that were just bitching up and down about 200 or 300 shares of Hyliion. Between me and Rick, we represent about 50,000 shares. That's two of us. And I know there's others. Proper 19 is in here. I'm looking at some of these other Hyliion holders. And I'm just like, cry me a river, you know? Like, these people who get invested in the stock market only with the expectation that that stock, because now they own it, is going to go up, and somehow that son of a bitch owes them, they don't need to be investing at all with that mentality. That's just not how it goes. It's just not. And it takes a very disciplined mind to actually see through and hold the risk tolerance. But my sympathy for somebody who owns 200 or 300 shares of a company, or has 2,000 or 3,000 shares, back to your question, right? If you've got 2,000 or 3,000 bucks, or 5,000 or 10 or 25 or 50, and you're 24 years old, what are you getting out of that? Conversely, if you're in your 40s and 50s and you've got 500, 750, a mil 25, a mil 5, a mil 7.5, now it becomes a little bit more of a prudent question to be asked, right? In that maybe you're already a damn winner. In other words, you're laying across the finish line and somebody's pouring water over your head. Hell, let's just make it champagne to make my point a little more clear. So you have to ask yourself, is it worth it for me to continue to keep the risk on the table? Or maybe should I put some risk take some risk off the table and put some in an FDIC insured savings account? Maybe put it into a bond account. Maybe put it into a piece of real estate. Maybe put it into a piece of income generating real estate. Maybe put it into something other than something that requires you to put capital to risk in. Okay. It's just the philosophy. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but the question is absolutely a genuine one. And it was a good one. Thank you for offering. Those are the types of questions I really like. I could speak for hours on those questions. We're going to go a little overtime. I don't have to compete with the gents tonight. I haven't seen them in the audience tonight. No big deal. I wanted to come on. I hadn't released a video since the Thomas Healy interview, heard around the world this week. No, I did that for me. Hell, a couple thousand views on that video. There's no harm in that at all. And I won't apologize for that type of activity, man. They need to be scrutinized just like everybody else. And if it just so happens to be me that does that scrutiny, I never said he wasn't welcome on my channel. Why don't I have a say in it? I invited him 12 months ago, and I never received a response. Had they just said, "Look, we're not interested in pursuing YouTube opportunity at this time," I would have said, "No problem. I won't lose sleep over it. Not a problem. If the man wants to play golf with me, no problem. We'll go down and shoot 18. I have no problem with that." But I'm not going to beg. I'm a lot more proud than that. The message that I've put forward on the Independent Investor channel for thousands and thousands of people out there that have heard, deployed, and benefited from is far more important to me than winning or losing out on an interview with the CEO that I'm not getting compensated for. Okay. And if the benefit is not there for Hylian, and there is no benefit there that they can extrapolate by putting Thomas Healy on the channel to speak to my audience, then that is their loss. It's just that simple. It is their loss, not mine. It's not mine. I've never done this message to blow up my channel. I've never done it for that. That's why I do what I want, when I want, and how I want. As long as when I'm doing what I want and when I want, it impacts people in a positive way. And I'm sorry for the few people that are just so disappointed that I couldn't get an interview with Thomas Healy so he could come on and reiterate the same stuff that he says in every other interview that he talks about on. He doesn't change it up. He says the same thing over and over and over again. It's all good stuff. I enjoy listening to his interviews. But what makes you think he's going to come on the I2 and spill the beans the way I want him to? What would happen if I scrutinized him the way I did the cardboard? Yeah. Yeah. Not too good. Not too good. People can't be talked to that way. Mm-hmm. Fuck, man. I tell you, man, the rules of society, man. Well, I will go to my grave never understanding how it is that society can govern the way that we address certain people. And I can stay calm about it. I just think at this point, you asked to be put into public markets. Why is it so far-fetched to think that people are not going to put some constructive scrutiny out there? Why? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's my deficiency. I don't know. Maybe it's my deficiency. Maybe I'm the one with the problem. Maybe I should just sit back and be patient and stop my bitching. I've got some people in my very tight community actually speaking along these lines. And I think it becomes misconstrued in, calling out people for scrutinizing and putting forth some constructive criticism on a company that I think that can do better. I think they can do better. Has nothing to do with anything else other than it's my observation, and I'm not the only one. All right. Good to see you too, brother. Happy holidays to you, man. It's great to see you. Very cool. Any opinion on Baba? Yeah, I mean, it's I'm down about 45% in the name right now. It's really tough. It's a tough position. But the VI structure, I'd need to look into that. I do apologize. I've been kind of off the grid this week with stock analysis. I do apologize. I don't have an opinion on that. All I do have an opinion on is the crazy downturn in the stock. Really, one of my most disappointing positions, along with AT&T. Hylian, not so much. I can deal with that. I knew the gig, but Alibaba has been very disappointing, along with AT&T this year. And really telecommunications from a grander perspective has been really bad. But I still own it. I still own my 25 shares. I thought about buying more, but it's already a large position that I took that I'm down in. So we're just going to continue to hold. But I do apologize. I will take a mental note and look into that. Thank you for bringing it to our attention. Very cool stuff. All right. I have no problem with bearish opinions, provided a good informed opinion beyond dead. For sure. No, I agree. I agree. Paul, if you think about it, highly on stock chart for the past year and a half is shaped sort of like a rainbow. That's an interesting point. So I'll say this on this. If it hadn't to run up to 58 and you were just to take that and chop the mountain off, stock's down 35% right now, peak to trough. Peak to trough, 35% down now. The fact that it ran up seems like it's a lot much more painful, because I think there was a lot of people, I myself included, that probably contended that 20 at that time was about the base. That's when I started buying. I started buying at 20, and here it is at 650. It's kind of in no man's land right now, just where it is. But yeah, it's kind of how I look at it. All right. Says, "What's your profession, mate?" It's kind of cool, man. This is kind of the time to level with my investors out there. So I'm in the military. I'm a proud military fella. I've been in for 16 years. So I'm 4 years away from retirement eligibility. I have every intention of doing 30. So hopefully that answers your question, man. I love my job. I love my colleagues. I love the mission. I love everything I do. My day seems to go by in a few minutes. I go to work, I work a few minutes, I have lunch, and then I work a few more minutes in the afternoon, and then I go home. And for doing such, I get extreme amount of wonderful benefits, wonderful camaraderie. I get to buy into a mission, um, not like YouTube, which is fairly shallow, to be honest with you. I make it worthwhile on my YouTube mission, but it's tough sometimes to deliver the message. Am I a happier person now than I was 5 years ago? I don't know. I think a lot of my angst and anxiety and things like that are directly from social media. I really do. I'm tuned into it too much. If I had it my way, man, I'd escape to the foothills of Alaska and take my phone and throw it into the lake and just be over with it, because it's just not. There's nothing really that healthy about it when you're plugged in and you're connected. And you're that connected. I mean, Jamie knows he can hit me up right now. My phone's right here. He can hit me up. That's how accessible I am. And I do enjoy that to a certain extent when the company is good. It's just that the grander social media audience is, quite frankly, a vampire drain. hmm It's a big vampire drain. Drain, as if it's like, yeah, kind of like that. Kind of like the straight jacket thumbnail I had for anybody that was lucky enough to kick on and see that. I changed it. I thought it was probably a little bit distasteful, so I changed it to be politically correct. So yeah, that's my profession. And I was a commercial fisherman before that for seven years. Worked on 15 boats. So I was out on the ocean, mate. So very cool. Thank you for asking. I would presume you're either from Australia or New Zealand. That's my presumption, and I'm sticking to it. It's great to have you. Thank you for the question. Appreciate it. I want a rainbow, Paul. I'm just scrolling up looking for some of these folks, man. Paul's on a roll tonight, man. He's like, dang, I got the I2, man, on a Saturday. This is awesome. If you want rainbows and butterflies, there are tons of you channels. It's true, man. I don't know. We can just call this thing something other than YouTube. I do enjoy YouTube as a conduit. I do. It's like not really the best cloud around the financial piece, because people tune into YouTube to find out how to do something, right? And I just think all too often people really don't want to hear what it is that people like myself have to say with regard to investing in the market. Because if you do it right, if you do passive investing right, it's really boring. It really is. I mean, you'll make a lot of money. You'll fund it. You won't pay any attention to it. You won't deviate from your plan, and you'll win doing that. Nobody that I know has started a YouTube channel and has succeeded with that message. Nobody. People want to see people that have lost $80,000 on GoPro. People want to tune in and see people, losing their ass only to come back and make millions. People want to tune in and see what the next cryptocurrency is that's going to go to the moon. And whether or not that's happening in rogues, I think the verdict is still out. I really do. I'm more interested in a message that can work for the masses. I really am, because I don't presume myself, especially, but those out there in the grander YouTube community, I don't believe that any of those folks presuming to have the answers, or projecting, which is even worse, to have all the answers. And even worse, the people who are willing to follow those people, and expect to be shepherded to riches. That's the real fallacy in the whole thing. But, to each his own. A lot of people just have to learn the hard way, and they will. They certainly will. All right. And this is a positive video. No reason to comment anything negative. Why he? I don't know. I didn't think he was. I didn't think he. I didn't think he was. Oh, Hylian is dead. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's dead. It's worth $6.50. Not quite dead yet. If it goes to zero, it's dead. So we will see. Um, I think right now it seems dead because we just don't hear any money. That's why I kind of chalked it up to be, kind of no man's land a little bit. Like I don't know what they're doing. Like I've said many times, if I'm gonna put on a neon green condom, I'm gonna use it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, what are you guys doing? You showed up to the party, you got all dressed up. What you guys doing? But we'll see. I don't know if there's certain milestones that are going to be reached coming into 2022 with regard to government incentives. That may help. The supply chain shaking up. I think the supply chain has put a damper on everything. So to your point, yeah, it's dead for that reason. They're sure as hell not producing any trucks, right? So, yeah, I don't think it's dead. The company is not bankrupt. There's been no discussion of any of that, nor do I think it's justified and warranted to even suggest that that is going on. Not with the amount of capital on the books, no way. The story may change in 1 or 2 years if supply chain issues persist and the cash burn gets way too out of control, but way too premature to make that call, especially in respect to SPACs. I mean, Paul Cordeau on the Rat Pack stock group, he just put out a really good video and was very elegant about explaining the SPAC process and how they come to market, and how there is kind of a moratorium over the time that they've got to get their shit together, for a lack of better terms, and take this really good idea to something special. And I believe that they will. I really do. I didn't think that was too rude. I didn't. I'm good. That's not the type of stuff I'm talking about on social media, man. I don't mind when people disagree with me, man. But when some people come on and they're like, I don't like the way your eyebrow looks, or I don't like the way you speak, or you say this too much or that too much, and it's like, well, turn it off. Like if I'm really just like, I'm really affecting you, go do something else productive with your time. I don't understand. If I don't like a YouTube channel, I shut them right off and I go do something else. I don't sit there and subject myself to something that I don't like, you know? That's just me. I think the market is like a moody teenager with a lot of potential, but you're not sure he'll make it. Well said. Well said. I think, interesting enough, it always remains a moody teenager that never ages. In other words, we can look back over the history of the market and we've kind of seen that, yeah, at times it gets cranky and it acts up. But over the long term, I think that's really what separates the good investors from the ones that look at it way too short term. If you're looking at it way too short term and looking to react on those short term injects, the stock market's really going to fake you out. It really is. It's going to zig when you zag. and it's really going to affect your portfolio and your performance. Really is. But I appreciate that comment. It's a good one. Thank you, Susan. Very cool stuff. Alex is back here. The market is more mysterious than people realize. It's no doubt. Well said. I mean, if you approach it that way, look, if you approach it, I see a lot of YouTubers, man. It's like, this is my bitch. This is my bitch, man. Come watch me because this is my bitch and I'll take it and I will take you along with me. It's just not, this is not possible. It's not the way it works, man. Trust me. Very cool stuff. Scroll to the bottom here, man. We went to 15 minutes of bonus time anyway. I'm going to chill tonight, finish my drink. Really appreciate you guys kicking in, man, on a Saturday. Kind of cool, man. I got Moki's at the bottom here. Sorry to get you the 9th inning. I should just stay on an extra half hour. Hell, I should invite you on the stream, brother. I haven't had you on. I don't know. Have we had you on once before? Long time ago, right? Yeah. Yeah. One of my favorite YouTubers out there. One of those guys that I can sit across from and be like, damn, this is like, it's a real person, genuine. There's no real agenda. Just here's my opinion. You can like it or not. I like that. And just keep doing what you're doing, because I think over time that pressure, it'd be like Shawshank Redemption, man. You just got to keep that pressure on it. And pretty soon it'll break for you and really take off. So it's great to see you, my friend. Happy holidays to you. Thanks for coming on. I want to check some of these other comments, man. I just scrolled to the bottom. I picked up a few. Just the people got out in March of 2020, haven't bought back because, yeah, right, exactly. I've tried. I lose every time. My boy Matt Money, he posted something really interesting to Twitter. He said that if you're going to try to get in and out of the market, you'll be right once every 8 years. Something just incredible. And we really do talk about this way too much, in that it's a thing where we should actually work to quell this notion that this is even possible. Like, that's where the essence of the discussion should be, is you can't do it. Like, I'm just here to tell you, I might be right, I might be wrong. I don't believe I am, but if I'm always trying to seek the truth, because if there's a few thousand people that over time see this message, they need to hear that staying invested in the market is the only true way to render that 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12% rate of return. If you try one time and you screw up and the market would have otherwise returned 12%, and because you decided to try to time the market, you got 9.5% on your portfolio because you got out, you missed it, and you're back in, but you missed that jump. That's the very element of timing the market, and it's futile. Year over year, if you start to chalk up some of those losses, gains year over year, but losses in between the 9.5 and the 12, that's what's problematic for people. And that's really the fallacy, is that there's people out there that actually think that they can do it. And I've been guilty of it, man. It's awful tempting. It's awful tempting when you sit on a fat stack of pay dirt and you're like, damn, man, if I just sold it all, I could get back in. I could buy so much more stock. Just remember the initial plan that you took before you entered into the market in the first place. Very, very important. All right. Cardboard talked more than Thomas in the last month. Yeah. I didn't do that in the least bit to be disrespectful. Not in the least. Not in the least. But look, man, if you're going to ignore me, that's what you're going to get. Piss off. I don't know what to tell you. I've worked really hard on this channel, man. I've refined my game. All the equipment, all the sound, all the lighting, all the video that you see, it comes through as crystal clear as I've been able to dial it in to be. So I have no problems. Hell, I'm the one that pays for this StreamYard. I pay $250 a year to maintain this StreamYard so I can keep my icon in the top right-hand corner of this live stream. So why should I feel guilty for inviting a CEO that I am 100% genuinely interested to speak with on the channel? That's it. Why should I feel bad about that? Why should I feel bad about an interview that I gave where I was providing an example of the questions that need to be answered? asked and answered. Okay. I sent an email to investor relations about 10 months ago. I had a response that said, I will look into this and get back to you. I was never responded to. Never. And this is from the current gentleman that works with me now, that argues with me about everything under the sun. I don't understand it. He seems to think that that's the right way to do it. I disagree. That's just his approach. He just wants to disagree and play this whole conversational deference game when there's actual questions that need to be answered. My question was regard to the chassis. Once they go through the racking test and they end up through the OEMs and you start bolting new equipment into that, does it null and void the warranty of said chassis from the original equipment manufacturer? Valid question, right? And I never got a response. I never got a response. Should that have been a sign 10 months ago that I should have just shit canned the whole stock then and there? No, I don't think so. I think there's probably a reasonable answer, one that could help provide some clarity, granularity around the concept of the question. Maybe my question was off base. Maybe my question did not even need to be asked the way that I asked it. Maybe there was a very, very simple rationale that could have been rendered. But when you don't offer anything, people are left to speculate. And I think this is where some of the frustration percolates. And that's where, a rendering like that it comes to a head. That's what made the most sense to me to put forward a piece of product like that. It's to provoke thought. Okay. It is to provoke thought, nothing more. It's not meant to get into people's cookie jar. It's not meant to make people feel bad. It's not. I did it. I'd do it again. I may do it again. What the hell? If he pisses me off even more, I'll do one every day. So he better back off because this is my channel. I say what I want when I want. People who come in here, they do not come in here to hear me talk all politically correct and all blah, blah, blah. I think that's what a lot of people like about me. And at least I hope that's the case. I'll tell you, that's what I like about me. I don't back down from stuff like that. You'll get my honest opinion. And for a lot of people, they misconstrue it as really offensive. That's because they're in an environment every single day of board directors. Hi, how are you? It's so good to see you again, Elaine. Oh, it's so good to see you too. Oh, we're just driving toward a vision toward the future, and we're looking to clean up the environment one vehicle at a time. It's so lovely. How have you been? How have you been? No. You see what that kind of talk and banter has what's it resulted in? And that's what drives me up the wall about bureaucracy, drives me up the wall about certain businesses out there that cannot see what pedigree it takes to actually make it. And the bottom line, sell shit. That's what they got to do. They got to sell some shit. Okay, Thomas, man, right now, congrats. 18 months on the open markets, man. The stock performance is dismal, down close to 70% peak to trough. What do you think the remedy is to help garner investor sentiment and drive shareholder value going forward over the coming 2 to 3 years? Sell shit. That's your answer, bud. I don't need to let you answer it for yourself. You just got to sell some shit, just like you promised us that you would in the document that was submitted to the SEC, right? So, yeah, that's just my approach, man. I'm sorry. The world needs more people like me. Trust me. Okay. We need more people and a lot less sheep. We do. The world would be a lot better place if you had guys like myself challenging a lot of what I see as absurd and what a lot of people accept as normal. Okay. Seriously. Proper 19's laughing his ass off. We're going to go to minute 30 and then I will wrap it up. So 7 more minutes left. This is reminding me of how it used to be on the old school independent investor. I would just get warmed up for the first hour and then the second hour I would deliver like magical content, like because I get in my zone. I just can't do that anymore because I get to minute 60 and I'm like, hey, man, I'm over. That's it. We don't have any more. It's all good. Well, special treat tonight since I missed the Friday live stream. People be like, damn. People been like, damn. Maddie's like, damn, he's bringing it tonight, man. This is crazy. What the hell got into Ryan? Some pretty good double bourbon last night. It was pretty fun, actually. Some really good beer, for sure. For sure. I'll drink to you, my friend. He says I've returned. I just shouted him out. I don't think he was in here. He says he returned. He went up, I think, to visit. I think he's got family up there in Pitt. It was kind of cool. You have to follow Matt on social media, man. He's a cool guy. Every now and then you'll catch one of these, man, where he's doing this funny shit, you know? The beard's moving back and forth, you know? No, man, I can't wait to meet Matt in real life, man. Matt's a good dude. He's one of my roundtable participants, man. He's gonna have a spot. He's gonna have his name engraved in the roundtable for sure. And he's gonna have a voice at my table, no doubt about it. Matt's got a good spirit, no doubt. Got a good spirit. Just love the guy. Merry Christmas to you, my friend. Thanks for making your way in. Sorry you got a ninth inning shout out, but decided to throw down on a Saturday. It's all good. He says Ryan Prince. Yeah, yeah, Mrs. Ryan is printing this year. I talked about it at the top of the stream, Maddie. We're a double income family now for the first time in a long time. So I think it's more accurate to probably say that it's probably impressive what I do with what I have. I think that's more appropriate. And I think that's probably the motivating factor for a lot of people because when they look at that and they say, well, Ryan Prince, I want to print too. I think the key there is to show them how to build their own personal printing press for themselves. I think that's the key. A lot of opportunity out there. If investing is your mechanism, great. It's a powerful one. There's a lot of mechanisms out there, I think. And I'm very humbled, man. It was really cool. Going back and reviewing the catalog of videos that I've put forward. God, I've put out a lot of content through the Independent Investor channel. It's been a lot of fun tracking the progress and a lot of live stream. It's a whole nother bailiwick. I'm going to be organizing and categorizing. I've started the Patreon. I don't have any participants in there yet. No problem. I'll continue to build that product out. I think it'll take a small catalyst on the channel. It's no big deal. I already have my Viper group solidified. It's a nice group. I have a few folks trickle in there every now and then. Goodbye, all good. Fantastic. She's ready probably to cash out. Thank you for coming in. I really appreciate it. Very cool stuff. Yeah, one of the cornerstones of the channel. No doubt about it. She owns a piece of this channel. All good, man. She's a part of the board of directors at the Independent Investor Channel, Cornerstone Capital Solutions LLC. So she keeps me in line. Actually, she doesn't. She's like, Ryan, you do you. You go, boy. Get that, Thomas. She trusts my strategic vision. And if I've just so happened to have pissed off an opportunity with Thomas Healy, I'm completely acceptive of that. And so is All Good, because All Good comes in here just like Bob and a bunch of other people on their own accord. And that is where my focus and loyalty lies. It's not with obliging a request or a denial from somebody that I've never met before. I don't know this individual. It's no problem. Like I said, it's an open freaking invitation to take advantage of as he or anybody else sees fit. The difference between Thomas and a lot of other CEOs is I get paid a lot of money to have those interviews on the channel. And that's going to continue into 2022 as well. I'm looking forward to that. We've already got them queued up for January, man. They've actually given me the holidays off, which has been kind of cool. But that's been a real bright spot for me in 2021. It's been a lot of fun. And when I look at a noble cause, helping people, and I do a lot of that. A lot of my time is spent doing that. And I think just one aspect of the channel is the promotional content that I roll through. It kind of allows a lot of the other stuff that I do that are non-lucrative that I still have to pay for worthwhile. And it helps kind of make the world go round, at least the I2 world go round, keeps it fresh, keeps me motivated as well. And it's important for me to continue to stay motivated and deliver the high level of a product that helps motivate people. The remedy is Nikola for sure. Dexter put out a video and he's like, I don't know where we sleep on this rig, man. It was pretty funny, actually. It's a YouTube announcement. I was kind of hoping he'd have a video on it, but you know, we'll see what happens. I've thought about actually buying Nikola. I actually had an order queued up for 500 long call options on Hyzon. Hyzon's actually a really good company. Nikola, I'm not so bullish on. You saw the head fake as it ran up after earnings because they only got to pay $120 million on their back lawsuit. That was supposed to be good news. But stock ran up, and I think there was some FOMO buying, like, oh my God, we got to pile in. The opposite happened. A lot of people were like, let's get the hell out of here. Let's jump ship. And they looked at it at $16, $17 where it ran up to as an opportunity to jump ship. It's damn near half that right now, below 10, with all the rest of these EV dumpster fires. It's been horrible, man. It's been just horrible. And yeah, I mean, I'll maneuver through the land field. It's been tough. I disclosed in this live stream actually of my liquidation of a block of stock to take the tax loss. It was the right thing to do, against my will. I wish I could have just kept it, but I felt like it was the right thing to do to take a little exposure off the table just in case this thing takes a leg lower, man. It's not fun. I've held this thing for 18 months and it wouldn't have been fun to take this thing into the $2 or $3 range. No way. Do I think it's going there? No, but that would have been a little bit tough. Whereas the position that I've got right now, shaving off that makes a little bit more sense. Grabbing some long call options on it out to 2024. So I'm really giving myself a nice 24-month buffer for some things to kind of come to fruition in the company. But yeah, the remedy could be Nikola. I think they'll be fine. I think they'll all three make it, actually. It's great to see you, Dave. Thanks for coming in, man. And thanks for always supporting the channel, man. You're going to have a place at the table if you want it. But I actually have a feeling you'll probably be somewhere in the Philippines, actually retired, and enjoying life, which is what it's all about. So really appreciate it, guys, man. Very cool. I will go ahead and shut it down an hour and a half tonight on the live stream. Very cool. Really appreciated. Expect the makeup opportunity for me to come on. And if I don't have time to throw down on a Friday, which is our normal operating schedule at 9 o'clock, I usually try to make that up when and where I can for you guys. I just love rolling out the message. I love engaging. I love keeping it fresh. I love talking about the progress that we're all making, sometimes slower than what we want it to be proceeding at, but I know as long as we can move this train slowly forward, it's going to make the difference for a lot of people when it comes time, to reflect back and say, man, I sure am glad I got part of that movement. It was awesome. I always felt like I had a little piece of ownership over the opportunity, and I'm here to tell you that you absolutely do. So, guys, thank you so much. We'll be back next Friday, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on the fastest 60 minutes on YouTube. Guys, be well, be safe, and we'll see you next week.